Tracy, I need to use the restroom.
Just go down the hallway to your left. You'll see it.
Can't you come with me? I don't know this place very well.
Come on, Florence. Don't be such a worrier. It's easy to find. Just go.
I felt like I was bothering her, so I decided to venture out on my own. As I entered the restroom, I was relieved to find it empty. I quickly took care of myself and washed my hands. Having done that, I opened the door to leave, but froze in shock when I saw Victor standing right opposite the restroom, a sly grin spreading across his face. You set me up, Tracy and Nestor.
You see, Florence, I just wanted to prove a point. I've noticed you to be a reserved lady ever since I know you, and not quite long I overheard some students arguing about your modesty. So, I thought of doing this to know how true the image you portray seems to be, and I also wanted to see how you'd react when you were pushed out of your comfort zone. I could see your fear and desperation of wanting to be free from your stalkers. Meanwhile, I planned this with them. From a Christian home, but you're still an infant in your faith. I couldn't stand the constant praise you receive for your intelligence all the time. Like you are the only smart on around. And honestly, I'm a little sorry I tricked you into trusting me, but it just goes to show how naive you really are. You guys can take over now.
With that, Tracy exited the room, leaving me feeling infuriated and humiliated. A wave of anger washed over me, and I seethed with resentment towards her. The room became silent, the only sound that could be heard is that of the heavy breathing of my captors. I was trapped, and I knew I had to think fast if I wanted to escape. Nestor walked over to me, a sly smile spreading across his face. I swallowed hard, my heart racing with fear. What did they want from me?
Let's get started, shall we?
And that's when it hit me, I was in grave danger, and I had to get out of there before it was too late. I saw Victor walk to the corner of the room, and returned with a glass cup filled with a drink. He approached me, putting the cup to my mouth to drink, but I refused.
You'd better cooperate with us. Take that drink now.
I remained adamant, refusing to yield, but was left with no choice after a slap landed on my face.
What do you take us for? A joke. Take that drink now, or you'll get more.
I hadn't expected to see this violent side of him. I started crying, feeling helpless, and regrets began to set in, as I blamed myself for the situation. I took a sip of the drink, hoping that would satisfy them, but they made me drink the entire contents, leaving the glass empty.
Wow, that's very good of you.
Mouth felt dry. I tried to remember how I got there, but my memories were hazy. As I struggled to sit up, a wave of dizziness washed over me. I fell back onto the bed, groaning. As I slowly regained consciousness, my mind was foggy, and my thoughts disjointed. But one terrifying realization crept into my awareness: something was horribly wrong. I tried to remember what had happened, but my memories were fragmented and unclear. I recalled being forced to drink something, and Nestor's menacing voice, but the ache I felt in between my legs that made my heart sink. I felt a searing pain, and a sense of violation. Oh God, what did they do to me? I couldn't shake off the feeling that I had been raped. The thought sent a wave of panic and despair washing over me. I felt dirty, violated, and helpless. Tears streamed down my face as I struggled to come to terms with what I thought had happened. Why did this have to happen to me? As I sat there, trying to process the horror of what I thought had happened, my gaze fell upon the bed. I expected to see bloodstains, evidence of the violation I felt. But there was nothing. The sheets were pristine, untouched. I felt a wave of confusion wash over me. Had I imagined the whole thing? Was it just a dream? But the pain and discomfort between my legs told me otherwise. I threw off the covers and examined my body. There were no visible signs of trauma, no bruises or marks. It was as if nothing had happened. But I knew what I felt. I knew the pain and the fear that still lingered inside me. So what was the truth? Had I been raped, or was it all just a twisted game of manipulation? I needed answers, and I needed them now. I slowly got out of bed, my legs shaking beneath me. I stumbled towards the door, determined to find out what had happened to me. As I reached the door, I realized it was locked. I was trapped. Panic set in, and I started banging on the door, screaming for help. But my cries were met with silence. No one came to my aid. I was alone, and I was at their mercy. I slid to the floor, defeated and helpless. Tears streamed down my face, as I realized the true extent of my situation. I was a prisoner, and I had no idea what my captors had planned for me. As I sat there, feeling hopeless and trapped, I heard footsteps outside the door. My heart racing, I looked up to see Nestor standing in the doorway, a sly smile spreading across his face.
I see you're feeling a bit better.
What do you want from me? I trusted you, Nestor. I thought you were helping me out of my mess, but instead, you're a wolf in sheep's clothing. Tell me, what's my offense? Why did you and your people choose to hurt me?
Are you done ranting? So, at your age, you can still be fooled. I can't believe the overhyped, almighty Florence could be fooled so easily. By the way, you should thank your star, because by now, you shouldn't be able to walk, not to talk of ranting. If Tracy hadn't intervened on your behalf, you should be in a much worse state, or even under medication by now. As for what we want from you, you're going to find out soon enough.
He turned and walked away, leaving me feeling more confused and terrified than ever before. I began pacing around the room, desperate to make sense of what he said about me being in a much worse state. Could it be true? No, it can't be. The more I thought about it, the more confused I became. I moved closer to the bed, intending to gather my clothes and freshen up. That's when I stumbled upon a clue that answered my question. A faint blood stain on the bed, barely visible unless you looked closely, caught my attention. My heart sank as the harsh reality hit me. I had lost my dignity. A scream escaped my lips, as the weight of what had happened crushed me. My mind was racing with questions as I stared at the stain. Why, was the only word I could utter, my voice trembling with pain. Tears flowed freely, as I struggled to come to terms with what had happened. I tried putting myself together in the bathroom to clean up. I returned to the room, dressed and sat on the bed, lost in thought. The pain of being defiled at the wrong time, and by the wrong people, was almost too much to bear. I could hear my stomach growling with hunger, making strange noises. I knew I needed to eat something soon. I stood up and looked around the room, hoping to find something to eat, but there was nothing. I felt a wave of sadness and disappointment wash over me, and my heart ached with hunger. Tears pricked at the corners of my eyes, threatening to spill over. It was as if they could see right through me. The door opened, and a lady around my age walked in with a tray in her hand. She approached me and set the tray down on the floor.
I was told to bring your food.
Wait, who asked you to bring me food? And who are you, by the way?
Sorry, ma'am. I'm not supposed to say anything other than what I said earlier.
She quickly ran out of the room, and closed the door behind her. I wondered who she could be, and what she was doing there, but I couldn't figure it out. I opened the plate and was greeted by the aroma of rice and chicken. My stomach growled, reminding me how hungry I was. For a moment, I forgot my pains and troubles. I made a quick prayer before devouring the meal. As I ate, I couldn't help but think about the mysterious lady who had brought me food. Who was she, and why had she been so secretive? I finished my meal and pushed the tray aside. I was feeling a bit more energized now, but my mind was still racing with questions. I stood up and began to pace around the room, trying to make sense of everything that had happened. But the more I thought about it, the more confused I became. Suddenly, I heard footsteps outside the room. Just then, the door opened, and he walked in. Behind him was the lady
It's straightforward. All I need you to do is get close to this lady.
She handed the photograph to me.
Become friends with her, I mean close friends, and then, you'll convince her to attend a party with you.
I felt a surge of unease as I looked at the photograph. The lady looked a bit familiar, but I couldn't fathom where I knew her face from. Who is this lady, and what did Tracy want from her? But why am I the one fitted for this?
Looking at the photograph, you'll notice that the only discernible difference between you and Leslie is your facial appearance. Interestingly, she's also a spiritual individual, but much like you claim to be. However, her abilities are far more exceptional. I intend to bring her under my control, just as I have with you, but the challenge lies in approaching her, as she's proven to be elusive. I believe that if you get close to her, she'll let her guard down, assuming you share similar spiritual inclinations.
What had I gotten myself into? She want to use me to get to Leslie, to manipulate her, and bring her under her control. But why me?
You're the perfect pawn, Florence. You have a certain innocence about you. Leslie will trust you, and once she lets her guard down, we'll have her right where we want her.
What if I refuse?
You won't refuse, Florence. You'll do exactly as I say. Or you'll suffer the consequences. Do I make myself clear?
And what if she discovers my true intentions?
That won't happen, Florence. You'll make sure of it. You'll gain her trust, and once you do, we'll take care of the rest.
I swallowed hard, feeling like I was drowning in Tracy's web of deceit. I knew I had to find a way out, but for now, I was trapped. Tracy handed me a small folder containing Leslie's personal details and a few photographs.
Study this carefully. Learn everything you can about her. I want you to be able to anticipate her every move.
But wait, is she a student in the same school with us?
Yes, she's currently in her first year, pursuing a degree in economics. Mind you, you have just 2 weeks to get close to Evelyn and convince her to attend a party with you. After that, we'll take care of the rest.
Okay.
Good. Victor, please help her out.
Victor walked me out to the compound where the party had been held earlier. He started the car, and drove us out of the mansion. I left Tracy's mansion with a sense of unease, feeling like I was walking into a trap. The folder containing Leslie's information weighed heavily in my hands, a constant reminder of the task ahead. As I made my way back to my dorm, I couldn't shake off the feeling that I was being watched. I glanced over my shoulder, but there was no one there. I quickened my pace, my heart racing with anticipation. I knew I had to come up with a plan, and fast. But for now, I was stuck in Tracy's web of deceit, forced to play along until I could find a way out. I arrived at my dorm only to find Peggy and Sonia were out. I checked out for the key to unlock the room, and luckily I found it where it's usually being kept whenever we leave for lecture, using the opportunity of my roommates not around. I locked myself up in the room, determined to study Leslie's file and come up with a strategy. But as I opened the folder, I couldn't help but feel a pang of guilt. Am I really going to betray Leslie's trust, just to save myself? I spent the rest of the day studying Leslie's file, trying to learn everything I could about her. But the more I read, the more I felt like I was betraying her trust. As night began to fall, I heard the sound of my roommates returning. I quickly hid the folder, and pretended to be studying for an exam. Sonia and Peggy entered the room, looking surprised to see me. "Florence, where have you been? We've been looking all over for you. We even reported you missing to the school authorities." "I'm sorry, guys. I was just, studying at the library. I lost track of time." "The library? But we checked the library. We even asked the librarians if they had seen you." "I must have been in a different section or something." Sorry again, guys. I'll be more careful next time. Sonia and Peggy exchanged skeptical glances, but they didn't press the issue further. As we settled in for the night, I couldn't shake the feeling that I was trapped in a nightmare from which I couldn't wake up. And I had no idea how to escape. As I sat on the chair, I couldn't help but think about home. I missed my parents, my brother, and my friends. I missed the familiarity and comfort of my own bed. Why not go back home? I could tell my parents everything, and they would know what to do. Or maybe I could confide in Zoe, my best friend. She was always level-headed, and would know how to advise me. Or maybe, just maybe, I could tell my brother. He was always protective of me, and I knew he would do everything in his power to help me. I will pack my bags, go back home, and leave all this drama behind.
You won't refuse, Florence. You'll do exactly as I say. Or you'll suffer the consequences.
Tracy had eyes and ears everywhere. If I tried to run, she would find me. And if she found me, I didn't even want to think about it. I was trapped, and I knew it. With a heavy heart, I lay back down, my mind racing with thoughts of escape and freedom. But for now, I was stuck in this nightmare, forced to play along with Tracy's sinister game. Waking up the next morning, as I prepared for the day, I could sense that Peggy and Sonia were still reeling from our conversation the night before. They had lots of questions, but seemed hesitant to ask. I greeted them briefly, but the atmosphere was strained. I quickly dressed and headed out for my lecture. As I walked through the campus, I couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. I scanned my surroundings but saw no one. When I arrived at class, I noticed that Tracy wasn't there. It was a stark reminder that nothing about her was as it seemed. My mind wandered throughout the lecture, consumed by thoughts of how to locate Leslie. I considered asking around her department, or searching for her in the Faculty of Economics. After the lecture, I made my way to the economics faculty, determined to find Leslie. I asked some of her classmates about her, and they directed me to where she was sitting with a course mate. As I approached, I felt a pang of guilt. I was about to deceive this girl, to manipulate her into doing what Tracy wanted. I took a deep breath, trying to compose myself.
Leslie, someone here wants to see you.
Oh my God, Sis Florence. I'm so glad to see you right now, right here. I've missed you, sis. Your words really impacted me the last time we met. You reflected Christ so beautifully, and it's been an amazing experience for me ever since then. I'm so sorry, I didn't introduce myself properly. I'm the lady from the outreach you attended together with your parents a while ago. I was so inspired by your message back then, and I've wanted to meet you again ever since.
This is the girl Tracy wanted me to manipulate. It can't be. How could I have agreed to this mission? Oh, sorry, I didn't recognize you at first sight.
No worries, sis. It's a small world, isn't it? Who would have thought we'd meet again, and even in the same school?
I know, right? What a coincidence.
I've been thinking about you a lot since the outreach. Your words really touched my heart.
So, tell me, when did you resume? And how's school been treating you? Leslie launched into a detailed account of her class experiences, and I listened intently, trying to appear interested. As she talked, I couldn't help but feel a sense of unease. I was getting to know Leslie, and she seemed like a really nice person. How could I possibly go through with Tracy's plan? But for now, I had to keep up the charade. I smiled and laughed at her funny experiences, trying to make the conversation lively, even though I knew I was just forcing it. We exchanged digits thereafter.
Hey, sis, let's catch up again soon. Maybe we can study together or something.
That sounds great. After parting ways with Leslie, I headed to a nearby private hospital for my scheduled doctor's appointment. I had planned to get a checkup and cleaning done that day. Upon arrival, I was greeted by a nurse who asked about the purpose of my visit. I politely insisted on speaking directly with the doctor. The nurse escorted me to his office, where I explained my reason for coming. The doctor listened attentively, nodding his head as I spoke. He asked a few clarifying questions before the examination. After the test and examination were conducted, he walked me through the results, explaining everything to me in a clear and compassionate manner.
You are safe, dear, but you should have come earlier for this. Although the results show that there was no actual penetration. However, it appears that there was some forced contact, which caused the bleeding and discomfort you're experiencing.
He explained that the blood stain I had seen was likely caused by a minor tear in the vaginal wall, probably due to the forceful contact. The pain I felt underneath was likely due to bruising and inflammation in the area. The doctor reassured me that while the experience was traumatic, the physical damage was minimal and would heal with time. He still recommended reporting the incident to the authorities and seeking counseling to deal with the emotional trauma. I thanked him and left the hospital, feeling a sense of emotional exhaustion wash over me. The fresh air outside was a welcome relief, and I took a few deep breaths, trying to process everything that had happened. As I walked away from the hospital, I couldn't shake the feeling that my life had changed forever. The encounter with Leslie, the examination at the hospital, everything seemed to be leading me down a path of self-discovery and healing. I don't need a soothsayer to tell me that I've strayed from the path I was raised on, the path I promised my parents I would always follow, but deep down, I know I must take responsibility for my actions. I need to retrace my steps, but first, I must clear up the mess I've made. I looked around, trying to decide what to do next. The streets were quiet, with only a few people milling about. I spotted a small cafe nearby, and decided to grab a cup of coffee, hoping the caffeine would help clear my head. I sat down at a small table by the window, nursing my coffee, and lost in thought. I couldn't shake the feeling of guilt and regret that had been weighing on me. I thought back to my childhood, to the values and principles my parents had instilled in me. They had always taught me to be strong, to be virtuous, and to never stray from the path of righteousness. But now, as I sat here, sipping my coffee and reflecting on my recent choices, I knew that I had failed them. I had failed myself. I thought of taking the doctor's advice about reporting the issue to the authorities, but I'm not sure if it will be a good idea for now. Tears pricked at the corners of my eyes, as I thought about how far I had strayed from the path I was meant to follow. I felt like I was staring into the abyss, unsure of how to climb back out. I brought out my handkerchief and wiped my face. As I sat there, lost in thought, I heard a familiar voice behind me.
Hey, are you okay?
I'm fine. By the way, I haven't had the opportunity to thank you for the other day. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome, and I'm glad I was able to help. But you don't seem fine. Is everything all right?
I'm fine.
How is studies?
Fine, thank you. By the way, I don't seem to recognize you on campus. Are you a student?
I'm actually a graduate student here. I'm working on my master's degree in business administration. I've been pretty busy with my studies and research, so I don't always get to attend campus events or hang out with undergrads.
He smiled again, and I found myself feeling more at ease around him. There was something about his relaxed demeanor that made me comfortable. As we chatted, I found myself wondering if I had misjudged him earlier. He seemed genuinely kind and concerned, but I still couldn't quite put my finger on why I didn't entirely trust him. Harvey glanced at his watch and stood up.
I'm so sorry, but I have a meeting with my thesis advisor. It was great running into you.
Yeah, same to you. As Harvey walked away, I watched him go with a mixture of curiosity and caution. I still wasn't sure what to make of him, but I had to admit that our conversation had left me feeling a little more at ease. I finished my coffee and then got up to leave. As I walked out of the cafe, I couldn't help but wonder if I would run into Harvey again. And if I did, would I be able to trust him? Walking away from the cafe, I couldn't shake off the feeling of being at a crossroads. The conversation with Harvey had left me with more questions than answers. Who was he, really? And why did I feel like I couldn't trust him, despite his kind words? I pushed the thoughts aside, and focused on my surroundings. The campus was quiet, with only a few students hurrying to their hostels. I fell into step with them, lost in thought. As I walked, I noticed a flyer on the bulletin board, "Counseling Services, Confidential and Free." I felt a pang of recognition. Maybe it was time to face my demons and seek help. I tore off a tab from the flyer with the contact information, and tucked it into my pocket. It was a small step, but it felt like a start. I returned to my hostel to find my roommates eating. I greeted them, and they invited me to join, but I declined, and tried walking to my bed. I was interrupted by Sonia's words. "Florence, you seem to have distanced yourself from us since we opened up about the incident with Victor. We know how you feel about us, but we want you to understand that if you were in our shoes, you would have done the same to save yourself. We mean no harm to you, and we can't let anything bad happen to you. So, we're using this opportunity to beg for your forgiveness once again. Please, find it in your heart to forgive us." Sonia's words brought back memories of that night with Victor. What if something had happened to me? What if I had been killed? I thought about all the what ifs, but I knew I had to let go. I've already forgiven you guys. I hold no grudges against you. We're glad to hear that, Florence. We've been feeling terrible about what happened. Yeah, we were really scared for you that night. We're just glad you're okay. I'm okay, guys. Let's just move forward from here, okay? The tension in the room dissipated, replaced by a sense of renewed friendship and understanding. As we chatted and laughed together, I realized that forgiveness wasn't just about letting go of the past, but also about rebuilding and strengthening relationships. And I was grateful to have friends like Sonia and Peggy who cared about me deeply. So, you won't eat with us, right? I'm sorry guys. I won't be able to take in anything again. I'm full already. Full. What did you eat that made you full? I had a snack earlier. A snack? What kind of snack? Just something I grabbed from the cafe, okay. Oh, was it a guy? Did you snag a snack with a pulse? No, it was not a guy. Just, drop it, okay. Sonia and Peggy were still teasing me about my mysterious snack, but I managed to deflect their questions. We spent the rest of the evening chatting, laughing, and catching up on each other's lives, making me forget my worries for a while. As the night wore on, I realized that I had finally found a sense of closure and forgiveness. My roommates had apologized sincerely, and I had accepted their apology. We were moving forward, and that felt amazing. But just as things were settling down, I heard a knock on the door. Who could that be? Are you guys expecting someone? Okay, let me go check. I got up to answer the door, expecting it to be one of our friends from the hostel. But to my surprise, it was Harvey.
Hey, Florence. I hope I'm not interrupting anything. I was in the neighborhood, and thought I'd drop by to say hello.
Hi, Harvey. What brings you here? By the way, how did you find your way here?
Like I said, I was just in the neighborhood. But I have to admit, I was hoping to run into you again. Since that didn't happen, I decided to ask around, and found out where you lived. Remember, we didn't get to finish our conversation earlier. But I'm not here to continue it now. I just wanted to say hello.
What else did Harvey want us to talk about? And why was he being so persistent? Hey, do you guys want to meet Harvey? Yeah, sure. Hello, handsome.
Hi, beautiful. I'm Harvey, a friend of Florence.
Friend. Wow, nice meeting you at last. What does she mean by at last? I looked at Sonia, and she eyed me jokingly, a playful glint in her eyes. If you don't mind, we were just about to make some tea. Would you like to join us?
That sounds great, thank you. I'd love to join you.
As we all sat down in the common sitting room, I couldn't help but notice the way Harvey interacted with my roommates. He was charming and friendly, asking them questions about themselves, and listening intently to their responses. Sonia and Peggy seemed to take an instant liking to him, laughing and joking with him like they'd known him for years. I watched them with a mixture of amusement and curiosity, wondering what Harvey's true intentions were. As we sipped our tea and chatted, I found myself feeling more and more at ease around Harvey. He was easy to talk to, and he seemed genuinely interested in getting to know me and my roommates. But just as I was starting to let my guard down, I remembered the strange feeling I'd gotten when we first met, the feeling that Harvey was hiding something from me. A week after Harvey's visit, I had just finished washing clothes on a serene Saturday morning when my phone rang, shattering the calm atmosphere. I picked up the call, expecting it to be one of my friends or family members. But instead, I was met with a menacing voice that sent chills down my spine.
It's been 2 weeks now, and we are yet to hear from you. We can see you've taken us for granted. Watch your back anyway.
The line went dead, and I was left standing there, frozen in terror. I knew exactly who was behind the call, Tracy, the person I had been trying to avoid. The threat was clear, and I knew I had to take it seriously. My mind was racing, as a wave of fear washed over me. What had I gotten myself into? I thought about all the possible consequences of crossing Tracy, and my heart sank. I was in grave danger, and I knew it. I stood there, my heart pounding in my chest, as I tried to process the threat. It felt like I was living in a nightmare I couldn't wake up from. Slowly, I put down the phone and took a deep breath, trying to calm myself down. But my thoughts were filled with Tracy, and what she might do to me. I stood frozen, the phone still clutched in my hand.
It's been 2 weeks now, and we are yet to hear from you. We can see you've taken us for granted. Watch your back anyway.
I took another deep breath, trying to steady myself. I had been expecting the call, knowing Tracy wouldn't let things slide for too long. But hearing her voice, feeling the malice behind her words still sent a shiver down my spine. I looked around the hostel, a sense of unease creeping over me. Am I really safe here? I thought about telling Sonia and Peggy about the call, but something held me back. Maybe it was fear, or maybe uncertainty. I knew I had to do something, but I didn't know what. Tracy's threat lingered in my mind, making me feel like I was walking on eggshells. Just then, Sonia walked in, breaking the silence. This one that you're quiet like this, hope you're okay. Yeah, everything's fine. Just a bit stressed out, that's all. Sonia nodded, though I could tell she didn't believe me. I knew I had to come up with a better excuse, but for now, I just hoped she wouldn't push further. The thought of calling my brother crossed my mind, but I didn't want to bother him. Then I thought about opening up to Leslie, maybe she could help, or even make peace with Tracy. Even though I still didn't fully understand what had transpired between them, that made Tracy so determined to go to any length. Just then, something popped into my mind, the counseling contact I tore from the bulletin board the other day. I searched for it, and thankfully found a number there. I decided to chat, instead of calling, because I wasn't in the right state to talk. I booked an appointment for counseling, scheduled for 2 days later. I also thought of calling Leslie to warn her to be more careful. Fear and sadness filled me. I didn't need a soothsayer to tell me I was behind my own problems. I had strayed from the right path, and going back hadn't been easy. I was guilty within myself. I found it difficult to pray. Anytime I tried, something inside me resisted. I knew I needed healing. I needed redemption. I remembered a verse from Pastor Frank's sermon, "Before I was afflicted, I went astray." That was exactly what I was experiencing. I had gone astray since I started hiding things from my parents, since I began following my own thoughts instead of God's will. I thought I was wiser than my Creator, and now I was facing the consequences alone. My story now reminded me of a story I once read in high school titled, "Had I Known." I was so lost in thought that I forgot I wasn't alone. My silence must have drawn Sonia's attention, because she walked closer and held my hand. "Florence, I know you're not okay. But I won't lie to you, what you're going through can't be handled alone." Wait, could she know? No, I can't remember ever opening up to her, or Peggy, but how come? Don't be surprised if I tell you we know all that you've been going through. We're aware of what transpired between you, Victor, and Alexander. Florence, I know this hasn't been easy to handle, and I know you decided to hide it from us because of what happened earlier. Trust me, we can't hurt you. We were scared that night. We were threatened and forced to leave you, but our minds were with you the entire time. I know it hurts to realize we knew Victor was coming that night. Remember, I told you if you were in our shoes, you'd have done the same. By the way, we sought help. That's why we asked Harvey to help us monitor you, because we were afraid Victor might hurt you. Ha, Harvey, you mean? Yes. Although the whole idea was Peggy's. She suggested we get someone to watch over you. Harvey has been our friend for a while, so we approached him and asked for his help. He agreed, and we were grateful he was able to save you that day from Alex. I know you must be wondering about our reaction when he visited. We actually planned that visit. He had informed us he met you in a cafe, and I suggested he visit. He already knew our hostel, no one directed him here. You probably hadn't seen him with us before, because he's disciplined, and doesn't go out anyhow. I was already in tears. I couldn't believe that the people I'd been hiding my dark secrets from, actually knew more than I could imagine. I tried to talk, but my voice failed me, as my sobs became louder. At that moment, Peggy walked in, and I was sure Sonia must have signaled her about revealing everything, because she joined in immediately. Sorry dear, all will be well. Those guys think they can get whatever they want, because of what they belong to, but God is greater than them. What they want from me is beyond the relationship they claimed. It's beyond my capacity, and that's what's been bothering and weighing me down. And what's that? I was about to talk when we heard a loud knock on the door, followed by murmurs. Who's at the door? What's happening? What's all that noise? Two girls from the other room came inside, one of them holding something that looked like a paper. They walked in, and the one holding the picture spoke up, her words cutting deep.
See who is trending? Who would have thought that the almighty prophetess Florence could do something like this underground? But wait, I thought you were decent. Never knew you were full of deception, deceiving everybody. Anyway, you can't fool me, because I personally never believed in you from the onset. No wonder people always go against those fellowshippers. You guys love claiming what you are not. Now your shame is everywhere around the school.
She threw the paper at me, before walking out with her friend. Looking at the picture, I became terrified. My hands began to shake, and I felt like I was about to collapse. Oh my goodness, why this? I never expected this. Why is Tracy doing this to me? How many people would I have to explain my ordeal to? How many would believe me? How many would be patient enough to hear me defend myself? Lord, have mercy on me, please. I know I chose my own path, which has now led to my doom and shame. Please, I'm sorry. My roommates were speechless as they stared at the picture. I could see the confusion and concern in their eyes, but I couldn't find the strength to say anything. My heart ached, and the tears just wouldn't stop. Florence, I hope this isn't what I'm thinking. Hope we aren't on the same page here, because what this picture is saying is hard to believe. Were you raped? How would I save myself from this mess? Who would I report to? The picture was from that night with Victor and Nestor, the one I had buried deep in my memory. There I was, half naked on a bed, clearly set up. Their faces had been blurred out, but mine was left fully visible. It's okay, brace up and stop crying. God will lead us through this. As I sat there, feeling helpless and ashamed, my mind drifted to the night my dad called to tell me about a dream he had. It had been 3 years now, but the memory hit me like a wave, fresh and painful. Then I thought about Zoe, someone I had once confided in, but who had led me astray. It had been so long since we last spoke. I realized I had allowed Zoe's opinions to override God's will for me. As the night wore on, desperation filled me. I thought about ending it all, or maybe going home to face my parents in shame. But instead, I decided to open up to my friends. I told them everything, about Victor, Nestor, the picture, and Tracy's threats. I told them how trapped and ashamed I felt. Sonia and Peggy listened attentively, their faces filled with concern. When I finished talking, they both hugged me tightly. We're here for you, Florence. We'll get through this together. But first, we need to talk to Leslie. She has to be aware of what's happening. Because since you didn't do what they wanted, who knows? They might be planning something else behind the scenes. But what could she have done to deserve this? And why would they think using you is the best way to hurt her? It's just not fair. I don't know, but I need to talk to her. I need to tell her everything. I think we'll be needing Harvey's help. What do you think? We need to get to the bottom of this. That's a good idea, but I don't know if Florence is okay with it. Do I even have a choice? All I need now is help. All right, Peggy, you can call him. Tell him to come over. At that, a small spark of hope flickered inside me. Maybe, just maybe, we could get through this together. Harvey showed up the next day with Leslie, after giving them a call the previous day. I could see the scared look on Leslie's face as I explained everything to her. She shared how she had been having mixed feelings earlier on, and explained the disappointment she felt when she came across my picture from a friend. She felt sorry for what I was going through, and also explained her encounter with an unknown guy who had walked up to her some weeks back, warning her to tread carefully on campus. She had been wondering and trying to understand those words, but still hadn't gotten the meaning until now.
Do you know what amazes me? The fact that these people could go this far, publishing a photograph to blackmail and ruin someone's reputation, without a second thought. And come to think of it, a lady. Ruining fellow ladies like her. What a heartless fellow. By the way, when was the last time you saw her?
Since the incident occurred, she's stopped attending classes. It made me wonder if she was ever a student. Who does that?
This shows that my safety isn't guaranteed in this school anymore. But wait, if it hadn't been you they tried to use against me, who knows what would have happened? Could I have been a victim by now? Oh my God. No, I know the Lord I serve can't let me down. He is ever ready to guide me with his angels, and will never allow my fall, because being here is for a purpose, and not by my own understanding.
Everyone glanced at Leslie as she spoke. I became confused, especially at the mention of here for a purpose. I was tempted to ask her questions concerning that, but I withdrew. What got me thinking was, could God have had a hand in Leslie's schooling here, knowing fully what was to happen to her, and still not stop her from coming? I began to relate the situation to mine, until I got lost in thought.
God knows how he does his things. One person's problem can turn out to be freedom for another.
But we haven't talked about the way out. What do you guys suggest we do? Because the picture is everywhere around campus, and the shame isn't something small. I can't count the messages on my WhatsApp, different people asking me what happened, and how true it is. How many people do we want to explain to that she was framed? Please, let's just come up with an idea. I kept my head low, also thinking of a way out. I couldn't stand the shame. I was overwhelmed with fear of going out, and had become tired of schooling. I felt like going back home, but the problem was how to face my parents, and what people would say if they found out I dropped out of school. I became worried and anxious. I thought of several ways out, but the one that kept ringing in my mind was returning home. Guys, let's not push further. I think I should just go back home. Quitting school will be a better idea for now. But you've gone too far to quit now, Florence. You're almost done with this. Let's fight and overcome this, or what do you think, guys?
Sis Florence, no, you can't quit. I believe the Lord you serve and introduced me to can help us overcome this if we seek his intervention. Can we just pray and hope on God?
Her statement touched my heart. If only she knew how far I had run from God. If only she knew I was no longer the Florence she once knew. If only she knew the last time I communed with that God she mentioned. I was heartbroken, realizing I needed to go back home. I felt like the prodigal son, who, after spending everything and having nothing left, went back home to his father. A part of me felt I would be welcomed and embraced, just as the scripture said. Another part felt withdrawn, thinking about chasing my dreams. I felt lost. Harvey, Peggy, and Sonia exchanged a concerned glance after Leslie's statement. Leslie, I understand you, but right now, prayer isn't the only solution. Although it's necessary, I think taking action is the best decision.
You can't understand. I've been having these weird feelings, like someone's watching me. And now that I know what's happening, how do you expect me to feel? I just think that's what we need to do at the moment.
We'll look out for you, Leslie. We won't let anything happen to you.
I don't know, I just feel like we need God's help.
Maybe we should report this to the school authorities. We need to take action.
I don't know if that idea is okay with Florence. Thanks for everything, guys. I really can't appreciate you enough for staying by me. I commend all your efforts concerning this situation, but I think going home will be all I need now. And by the way, Leslie, I'll only tell you to be more careful, be more watchful and vigilant, and don't neglect your first love, which is Christ. He really cares about you, which is why he's unraveling all this to you. Although my coming here wasn't his will from the onset, I allowed my own desires to rule over his, which is why I found myself where I am now. Please, in anything you do, let your decision be made known to God first, so you won't end up where you never expected. I advised, rising to my feet. I knew my words might sound strange to them, and I was sure a lot was running through their minds, but I didn't plan to elaborate further. I walked to the room to start preparing for the journey back home. So, how do you plan to leave without drawing attention? I'll leave by evening. I called Mum to let her know I was coming home, and her voice was filled with joy. I also spoke with my brother, who had finished school, but decided to stay in the area for a while after landing a job nearby. He promised to visit home before I returned to school. Little did he know, I wasn't going back.
Florence, are you sure this is what you want to do? Leaving school because of this, it doesn't seem right to me.
I don't know, Harvey. I just feel like I need to get out of here. This whole situation is overwhelming. We'll support you no matter what. But before you go, can we at least try to figure out something? Something like what? Do we want to start looking for Tracy or Victor? I don't want anyone getting hurt because of me, so please, let's just leave them to God.
Let's just give it a try, Florence. We can't just sit back and watch these people humiliate others anyhow. We'll be careful. Let's just hope we get to the bottom of this.
I wasn't comfortable with the idea. I couldn't shake off the feeling of unease. All I wanted was to escape there, and find solace back home. When my friends saw how determined I was to leave, they couldn't hold back their emotions. Harvey arranged for a cab to pick me up in the evening. I couldn't leave during the day without drawing attention to myself. My friends carefully packed my luggage into the cab, to avoid raising suspicion. At 6 p.m., I put on a face cap to disguise myself and bid my friends farewell, promising to stay in touch. As I got into the cab, I felt a mix of emotions, relief, sadness, and uncertainty. What would the future hold? Would I ever be able to return to school and face my peers again? The cab drove off into the evening traffic, leaving behind the only life I had known for the past few years. I was headed home, but I knew that nothing would ever be the same again. As the cab drove away from the campus, a sense of relief washed over me. I was finally leaving behind the pain and humiliation. But I knew that the journey to healing was just beginning. The cab ride was quiet, with only the sound of the engine and the occasional horn breaking the silence. I stared out the window, watching as the city gave way to the countryside. After a while, the cab pulled up to my family's house. I tried paying the driver, but he told me my bill had been settled. I knew it was Harvey's doing. I thanked the driver for being honest, then alighted from the cab. Taking a deep breath of the familiar air, I walked toward the door. It seemed my mother had been waiting for me, because the door opened at my first knock.
Florence, my dear, welcome home. But why the late night journey?
It's traffic, Mom. You know I also don't like traveling late at night. Where's Dad?
He should be in his room sleeping. I was awaiting your arrival before calling him for dinner, because I wanted us to have it together. It's been a while since that happened.
And who said I'm sleeping?
I've missed you, Dad.
I've missed you too, my baby.
We walked hand in hand to one of the couches, like two lovebirds. Meanwhile, Mum had already slipped into the kitchen.
How is everything so far? How's your study?
Fine, Dad. I can see Mum has been taking care of you. You're looking fresh.
Really?
Of course, Dad.
Why am I hearing my name?
Your daughter here has been commending you. She said I'm looking fresh because of how well you've been taking care of me.
She's very right. Am I not taking care of you?
And am I not taking care of you as well?
No, I asked first. Answer the question, and then I'll answer yours too.
As they bantered back and forth, I felt a sense of normalcy wash over me. But deep down, I knew I couldn't avoid the truth forever. We spent the night talking, and catching up on everything we'd missed.
We've missed you so much, Florence.
We're glad you're home safe.
I'm just tired, Mum. It's been a long day.
You should go rest then. We'll talk more in the morning.
I nodded, feeling a mix of relief and guilt. I knew I had to tell them eventually, but I just wasn't ready yet. As I stood under the warm shower, I felt the tension in my body begin to ease. I took a deep breath, letting the water wash away the stress and fatigue of the past few days. After my shower, I wrapped myself in a towel and reached for my phone. I sent a group text to my friends. Hey guys, I'm home. I smiled, thinking about how my roommates would react. They'd probably bombard me with questions, but I was ready to fill them in on everything. I didn't have Harvey's number, but I knew my roommates would pass on the message. I wanted to thank him again for being there for me. He'd really gone out of his way to help, and I appreciated it. Just as I was about to put my phone away, it buzzed with an incoming text. I smiled, expecting it to be one of my friends responding to my message. But to my surprise, the text was from an unknown number.
Welcome home, Florence. I'm glad you made it back safely.
Could it be Harvey? I have been home for 3 weeks, and every day seems harder than the last. What I passed through back in school still devastates me. I finally opened up to my parents, and it wasn't funny at all. My parents did everything possible to fish out everyone involved in messing up my life. They reported them to the school authorities, and they were suspended. Even after all this, I still don't feel safe. Knowing how I was humiliated, my unclad picture, which they took of me when I was unconscious, was posted publicly and went viral. All these are part of the reason I don't feel like living anymore. I went viral for the wrong reason. If I had listened to my dad, maybe it would have been avoided. He even received warnings through dreams, which he didn't fail to share with me, but my high interest in going to school clouded all my reasoning. Now, I'm facing the emotional consequences. I'm drained and tired from all that befell me. My dad wasn't happy with me at all. I got a lot of counseling and backlash. My brother was informed. He had a load full of questions and scolding. He said if I couldn't inform Mum and Dad, why didn't I tell him? He would have handled it before the whole thing escalated. I was supposed to return to school, but I felt unready. The heat is just too much on me. All of these were the reasons I wished I could end it all, but deep down, I knew that wasn't the best option. Harvey has stayed close, checking up constantly, and sending encouraging and romantic messages to cheer me up. I was surprised to see him in church. He said since he couldn't visit me at home, he wanted to know where else we could meet and talk. I told him I wasn't allowed outside for now, except for church activities. He asked to know where I worship, and I told him the name of my church. But I discouraged him from coming, because I knew my parents wouldn't want to see me hanging out with a male friend for now. But he came anyway. I wasn't very surprised, neither was I pleased. Seeing him at my gate again, gave me a strange feeling, an adrenaline rush that went all over me. We spoke briefly, as I kept looking around to make sure my parents, or anyone else didn't see us. He said he missed me, and so did my other friends. He wanted to know when I would be coming back to school. He told me how everyone looked forward to having me back. Since all those behind my saga had been dealt with, and would never trouble me again, what else was holding me back from returning? I told him a whole lot, that Tracy and her squad had been handled by the school management, but all that they unleashed on me had deeply affected not just my self-esteem, but my entire social life. I didn't know if I would ever get over it. He nodded in understanding, asking me to give it a try first. Sonia and Peggy both missed me, even Leslie. He said I should try to come back because this time, it would be different. He promised that he would not only protect me from any mishap, but would always have my back. I told him that I trust only God to watch my back. I'm still finding it difficult to trust human beings. He nodded in understanding again. We spoke a little more, and I assured him that I would return soon before he left. The following week, I told my parents that I was ready to go back to school. They wanted to start making preparations for another school, but I told them there was no need for that anymore. They asked me if I was certain, and ready to return to the same school. I assured them that I was fit, mentally and emotionally. They had a load of advice, more counseling, and a lot more prayers. I was reminded countless times about my past weeks, and why I shouldn't bring shame to them, or disappoint God. I stayed, listened, and acted like the newly changed obedient child that I had become. After a few days, I left and went back to school. My friends were so excited to have me back. I could see the joy on Harvey's face. He welcomed me with open arms. I smiled, hugged him, and also hugged my roommates, who had become my close friends. Studying was far different from before, because my parents kept checking on me. I was wiser and stronger, because what couldn't kill me made me stronger. I wasn't quick to call everyone my friend. I knew where I should be, and where I shouldn't. I knew when to shut anyone down whenever they crossed their limits. I was not only careful, I was wise also. Harvey indeed was always looking out for me, and so were my friends. My spiritual life became more serious. Leslie and I started having prayer and study sessions, and many others joined in. I was gradually recovering and bouncing back from what almost broke me apart. Gradually, my university life kept going, slowly, but smoothly, and steadily, until my final year came. Tracy and her accomplices returned, but they never troubled me. They kept a clear distance, and I avoided them like the plague. I took God far more seriously. My spiritual life went from cold to lukewarm, and then I was all on fire for God again. I still flash back to those difficult times and thank God that I didn't end it all, as I once wished to do. I'm happy that I had good friends around who didn't give up on me. My parents also backed me up spiritually after the encounter. My school years weren't all smooth, not without turbulence, but I'm glad that God saw me through it all. Harvey and I remain close good friends as always. He also chose to grow himself spiritually. My roommates and even Leslie are doing amazingly well in their different paths. I'm happy that I didn't end it all, and that I didn't bring shame to my parents like the devil intended. I give God all the glory.